Now, the news for South Mississippi. Good morning, Mississippi.
From right here at home to across the country, some big races with a big impact.
And we have team coverage this morning getting you up to speed on state and national elections.
Well, our skies are mostly cloudy this morning. We might see some rain later today. My forecast in just a few minutes.
Right now, though, the country is waking up to major GOP victories, creating an overnight change on the political map.
A Republican wave puts Democrats in the back seat on Capitol Hill.
This morning, Washington and President Obama are waking up to a clear sign of voter discontent.
Tamon Bradley joins us live from Capitol Hill with the very latest on election 2014. If you are just waking up this morning and getting the results, WLOX and ABC News has you covered.
Good morning from Washington, where power has shifted. Republicans now have complete control of Congress after voters took their anger out on President Obama and his party.
Well, Iowa, it was a blowout. Forward, working with Republicans.
And that work could start on Friday. President Obama has invited the Republican and Democratic congressional leaders to the White House to talk about where they go from here. Live on Capitol Hill, Tamon Bradley, ABC News. Now back to you.
Thank you. And closer to home, two Jackson County Sheriff's candidates are headed to a runoff. Former Ocean Springs Chief Mike Ezell and more than 30-year law enforcer Scott McElrath face each other in 3 weeks. And neither person got more than 50% of votes last night, but the two were definitely the big winners. And they faced four other candidates in the sheriff's race to replace former Sheriff Mike Byrd, who resigned after being convicted on federal and state crimes. The men say the support they received from voters across the county was overwhelming, and they are excited about the runoff.
You set out a plan back in January, drafted a campaign plan. We've stuck to that campaign plan and stayed on our message. And in my mind, we have prevailed tonight. We made it to the runoff, which is exactly, like I said, where I wanted to be.
I am feeling over the top excited, and I am very thankful. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Thank you.
Anything else you want to say?
Thank you for everybody that has come out. Thank you for all the folks that have voted for us today. Please come back out in 3 weeks and vote for us, and we'll be a good sheriff for Jackson County.
Well, the runoff election will be held November 25th. And to see election results, by the way, from all across our state, all you have to do is go to our website, WLOX.com.
And looking ahead this morning, Governor Bryant will be in Canton. He's set to visit the Nissan plant there in about 4 hours. The governor will join workers as they start production on the new 2015 Nissan Murano crossover. This will bring about 500 new jobs to the area and make the Canton plant a global production source for the crossover. The Murano will be exported to markets around the world.
With the recent Virgin Galactic Spaceship Two mishap and the explosion of NASA's unmanned cargo rocket, a lot of people are wondering about the future of space programs. But Congressman Stephen Palazzo says there's nothing to worry about. It's a story you're seeing for the first time on Good Morning Mississippi.
These are some minor setbacks, but space travel is dangerous. If it wasn't dangerous, anybody could do it. And so I do believe between the private sector partnering with NASA that they're going to be able to identify what went wrong, fix it, so safe commercial space travel will be realistic, and then NASA can continue to focus on deep space exploration by looking at the Space Launch System and the Orion, which is tested right here in South Mississippi.
Well, the world's largest retailer is downsizing, sort of. Today, the doors open for 2 new express stores on the coast. Neighborhood Walmarts opened today, one in West Biloxi on Pass Road, the other in DeIberville on DeIberville Road. Not only are these express stores bringing a new shopping option, just about 200 jobs have been created. The grand opening will be in just about an hour and a half at 7:30 this morning.
Well, this morning, Maine residents find themselves listening to the hum of generators. 9 inches of snow and strong winds knocked out power earlier in the week. More than half of Camden residents were left in the dark. Now, they admit they're used to this type of thing, but not in early November. Despite the big cleanup underway, some people still managed to make it to the polls. Voting machines were moved to a local church, one of the few places that actually has power at this point. So they are just blanketed in snow. Quite a different story for us. Although we're hoping
Yes,
for a little
indeed.
precipitation of another type.
They got their precipitation. We're waiting for ours. There'll be a quick warm-up in Maine today, and then here comes another front rolling through that area to cool them down once again.
Oh, boy.
Thank you, ladies. Good morning, Mississippi. Thank you for joining us. Here it is now, 6.5 minutes after forecast, and of course, a look at Wednesday. All coming up in the next few minutes.
Thank you, Tommy. New evidence comes to light that may help officials in Pennsylvania find a missing woman. A closer look at the video police are combing through right now.
Plus, a big fine for a big circus because of a human chandelier accident. Details still to come on Good Morning Mississippi at 6:07. The temperature right now in Wiggins, 59 degrees. Well, right now we are monitoring a developing story out of Louisiana.
Officials have shot and killed a gunman accused of holding 3 people hostage for hours inside a bank. This is a picture of the suspect. Authorities are identifying him as 20-year-old Fuad Ahmed, and investigators are now revealing he had been planning this heist. They found books about hostage negotiations inside his home. Right now we know one hostage has died after being shot. Another was taken to the hospital, but we don't know their current condition. A third victim was released late last night. The standoff lasted nearly 12 hours.
In other news, we're also covering a breaking story out of Alabama. UPS cargo plane crashed on approach to the Birmingham airport this morning. Now, this happened just before dawn. Authorities tell us the plane was en route from Louisville, Kentucky this morning. When asked about injuries, authorities had no information to give out just yet. The word is there was a pilot and co-pilot on that plane. You're seeing the wreckage there. We've heard there have been at least 3 explosions, and the crash is reportedly not affecting operations at the airport.
A 6 to 12 month reprieve. Keesler Air Force Base gets to keep its C-130J fleet for now. WLOX's Doug Walker joins us live from Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi with what's next. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Megan and Rhonda. Certainly good news. 10 C-130J were not impacted at all by this decision. They were never slated to leave Keesler. However, they were impacted by the sequester, which, by the way, ended this week. Reporting live from Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, I'm Doug Walker for Good Morning Mississippi.
All righty, thank you, Doug. You know, it was 5 years ago today that Gulfport Police Lieutenant Rob Curry died. Curry was a motorcycle patrolman, and on this date in 2008, he was hit by a car on his motorcycle on Highway 49. And tonight, friends and family will ride in a motorcycle procession in Curry's memory. The second annual Ride for Rob begins at 6 o'clock tonight. If you want to take part, meet at the Harrison County School Administration Building on Highway 49. The ride will end at Rob Curry's final resting place, Colville Cemetery in Woolmarket. And there will also be a candlelight vigil after the ride.
This afternoon, the first 3 miles of the Heritage Trail opens at the Infinity Science Center. Rebecca Powers has details on a story we'll be following today.
Well, good morning, everyone. The Possum Walk, also called the Discovery Trail, runs from Infinity to near the Pearl River. Markers along the way will share the history of the Possum Walk, an African-American community, and the old Logtown community, which was displaced when Stennis Space Center was built back in the 60s. People will be able to hike, bike, or take their time exploring our coast, and they'll have the opportunity to explore all of what our culturally rich area has to offer. The $785,000 project was funded by a Department of Marine Resources Coastal Impact Assistance Grant. Officials from DMR, Stennis, USM, and NASA cut the ribbon on the Possum Walk today at 4 o'clock, and we'll be there and have that and more for you later today.
Thanks, Rebecca. Well, we have showers and occasional thunderstorms. 30% rain chance on Saturday, 40% rain chance on Sunday.
WLOX News has just learned of a truck fire on Socia Advanced Road. It happened just about an hour ago. Harrison County Fire Chief Pat Sullivan tells WLOX that an 18-wheeler log truck caught fire just before 6 a.m. The crews worked quickly to put the fire out and clear the road.
So traffic is now flowing on that road, but there may be some delays. No injuries were reported, thankfully. The fire is believed to be accidental. We'll keep you posted on anything new we learn from that, as well as a developing story about that cargo plane, UPS cargo plane going down in Birmingham, not affecting airport traffic in the Birmingham airport at this hour. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, we definitely will do that. And look at that huge fire right now. We want to thank you for tuning in with us this morning. We'll see you again at about 7:27 with more local news and weather.
Now, the news for South Mississippi. Good Morning Mississippi.
An intense fire in Jackson. Flames light up the night sky. State fire marshals making their way in this morning. Plus, parts of South Mississippi under a freeze warning. We have team coverage this morning. Doug and Trang are out live tracking temperatures and your morning commute. And Tommy is here in the studio.
Yeah, where it's warm for the moment anyway, Megan. A freeze warning in effect for our area this morning. It'll be a chilly afternoon, followed by, yes, another freeze warning in effect for our area again tonight. My complete forecast in just a few minutes.
Good morning, Mississippi. Are you warm this morning? We are waking up to bone-chilling temperatures outside, and we're going to go straight to Doug Walker this morning. He's with the people who are making sure others are getting the shelter they need from the cold. Good morning, Doug.
Well, good morning, Megan. I'm at the Salvation Army shelter in downtown Gulfport. Some 52 people spent the night here, refuge from the cold, bitter temperatures, which are below freezing, as Tommy has mentioned. Now, the people at Feed My Sheep are busy cooking the meals this morning for some of these folks to go and eat and enjoy a hot meal on a cold day. And with that part of the story, we're going to toss it to Trang Pham Bui at Feed My Sheep.
Good morning there, Doug. A lot of the folks that you see there at the shelter will probably be coming here at the Feed My Sheep Soup Kitchen in downtown Gulfport. The shelter works in conjunction with this soup kitchen to help take care of the folks that are staying there. Have something to eat tonight. Reporting live from the Feed My Sheep Soup Kitchen, this is Trang Pham Bui. Back to you.
Thank you, Trang. A lot of people busy this morning doing what they can to make people comfortable.
Yeah, you got to stay warm, even if and staying busy, I think, helps to keep you on the warm side a little bit anyway. It's nice to think of it that way. Thank you, Megan. Good morning, Mississippi. Now 5 minutes after 6. I'll tell you more about our forecast in the next few minutes.
And volunteers will roll out the cots again tonight. Cold weather shelters are opening their doors for another blast of those freezing temperatures. In Hancock County, the Old Spanish Trail Baptist Church will be opening its doors at 4:30 tonight. The church is 1 mile west of the Waveland Walmart. If you need a warm place to sleep in Harrison County, shelter will be available at the D'Iberville Multipurpose Center behind City Hall. And the Salvation Army shelters will open today, the one on 22nd Street in Gulfport, where we just saw Doug, and the other is on Nathan Hale Avenue in Pascagoula. And that shelter opens at 4:30 this afternoon. The Gulfport shelter opens at 4 p.m. Coast Transit Authority will provide transportation to all of these shelters for those of you who need it. Give CTA a call if you know you'll need a ride. Oyster fishermen are facing frigid weather as they work the reefs on the first day of Mississippi's oyster season. Along with the cold weather, fishermen also face the prospect of a disappointing season. It will again be a limited season for both tonging and dredging. The DMR's own scientists describe the reefs as depleted and severely distressed. Despite the gloomy predictions, oystermen are holding on to hope, and seafood dealers are hoping to meet the holiday demand for oysters.
Everybody said the oyster's pretty not good this year, but hopefully we'll find something out there though.
Yeah, it's there, but I mean, they got a bunch of other states open too. It's not as good as it was last year, I don't think, but I mean, there's a demand for them.
And the limit for oystermen is 7 sacks a day for tonging and 10 sacks a day for dredging oysters. Happening today, state fire marshals are expected to begin their investigation and comb through the charred rubble left behind after a massive fire singed much of the Mississippi Agriculture and Forestry Museum. This is what the scene looked like around 5 yesterday afternoon. Firefighters say the wind caused this fire to spread to 2 other adjacent buildings, a maintenance shed, and a 1920s-style vet clinic. Investigators say 1 person received minor injuries. No animals were injured in this fire. New this morning, we are hearing what Governor Phil Bryant has to say about the massive fire that torched the museum. Bryant told State Agricultural Commissioner Cindy Hyde-Smith any state asset that will be helpful as the recovery process begins will be at her disposal. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to take you live to the scene this morning as well. Well, keeping warm, South Mississippians suit up and go outside, getting their body temperatures up. How people are getting creative during this deep freeze. Time now is 6:08. It's 29 degrees in Wiggins.